Thank you for listening to Breakthrough Consciousness,
the podcast where we get out of the loop and into it all.
My name is Sean.
And I'm Clayton.
And as your co-host, we're going to be facilitating hearty conversation centered around personal growth.
Whether that be through us sharing our own stories and experiences, or holding space for our guests to share theirs, we're going to tie it all together with lively conversation and hope that you all enjoy. Welcome back. Today we're bringing our good friend Steven back on, and we're going to be talking about the return of his trip. He decided to move on with his locales, what he's learned, and we'll dive a little bit into an experience that him and I shared earlier this summer.
Yeah, so we're actually releasing this way after the fact. Steven got back, he says in the episode, I think it was early March.
It was May.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Got back towards the end of May, I believe.
That's what I was thinking. Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, we recorded it probably a month after that, after he got back, and that was after you and Steven went to Scorched Nuts.
Scorched Nuts.
Yeah, which is a regional burn. So yeah, we finally are getting around to releasing this. So this is the part 2 to Steven's first episode, just talking about his excitement and reluctancy in taking the trip.
Balance of fear and excitement and turning one into the other, essentially.
Right. Talked about his method of transforming anxiety into excitement, and now he's gonna be given the aftermath story.
Yeah, a good bit of recap, good bit of lessons learned, and what it's like and what the outcome can be when we step through that barrier of fear and anxiety of what is to behold.
Yeah, and I definitely enjoyed hearing you guys talk about the Scorched Nuts. I always forget what it's called.
It was quite the experience.
I just want to call it the burn.
It's a weird name. It's a burn, but humans require labels.
You're right.
Otherwise, everything be everything. It already is, but it'd get confusing.
Exactly. Cool. Well, without further delay, we'll let you guys listen to the episode.
Enjoy.
Steven, welcome back.
Thank you.
I would say welcome back home, but I guess you've been home for like a month now?
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, definitely.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Well, you want to tell me all about it?
Yeah, so I started traveling March 28th, and I got back on May 3rd, so it's been just about a month now.
Okay.
I went to 7 different cities, but I went to a couple cities multiple times.
Is that all in Portugal?
No, so I went from Portugal, I went to Lisbon, which is the capital of Portugal. I went to Lagos, which is in the southern region. I went to Barcelona, Rome, Amsterdam, Berlin, and Porto, which is a city in northern Portugal. And then I went back down to Lisbon to fly home.
Nice.
So I did a nice little continental tour there.
Dude, I don't even know which one to ask you about first. That just all sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Very expanding experience for me.
No
for
doubt.
Sure. Got some credit card bills to pay off, but after that I'll be right back out.
Okay. Cool, man. Heck yeah. Did you say Barcelona?
Yes.
So what was that like?
It's a beautiful city. That was the first city that I actually stayed at a hostel with people. Because I was staying in either like hotels or like Airbnb types of situations where I was just by myself. But after about a week of that, like I was just kind of starting to drive myself a little bit bonkers, I would say. Like I really needed that social interaction to kind of keep myself like rooted in a way. Otherwise I was just kind of flying off into my own mental space.
Right.
So once I got to Barcelona, I actually flew in, and the first thing I did was like drop my bag off in my room and went downstairs. And it was like a kind of like hip youth hostel, so there was like a mini ramp in the hostel. It was like a skate themed place, and
okay.
Yeah. So like I went downstairs, and there was a couple dudes from Germany, and they were like offering me a couple beers, and we were just like chatting. Like this is immediately right as soon as I walked in the hostel, so that sort of like social atmosphere really helped bring out some good vibes.
Just immediately welcomed into this group of strangers that no one really knows anyone, but everyone's traveling, hanging out, and having a good time.
Yeah, it's like the common vibe.
you make a pretty good friend there, someone that you traveled with a little bit.
So I met the guy I traveled with. His name is Fred. Fred. He was from Brazil, and I met him in Sintra, which is right outside of Lisbon, where the Palace of Pina is. And on my way back to Lisbon, I met him at the train station, and we chatted, we talked. There was a big language barrier there, but like we were kind of helping each other with different languages, and I was trying to help him out with English. So we hung out that whole day, and then we met up in Barcelona. I followed him over there, and we spent the day together. And
Right
nice.
on. That's right.
Was that within the first week that you were there in Portugal at large, or?
So I stayed 5 days in Lisbon. I stayed 5 days in Lagos. I went back up to Lisbon for 3 days, or 2 nights, and then I flew to Barcelona from Lisbon.
Okay, gotcha.
It's awesome that you were able to make a friend there already, like in your first location, basically. And like, all right, you want to travel some more, and hitches a plane over to Spain, and
Yeah, it was a really cool experience for sure. It was really, really cool connecting with him on a really deep friendship level.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right on.
He kind of showed me around Barcelona because he had been there multiple times, and that
Oh,
was
so he
really-
was traveling too.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was from Brazil, so
Gotcha.
he was like, he had definitely been to Barcelona quite a few times. He was like telling me how so Barcelona's trying to split off from Spain currently.
Okay.
It's a part of Catalonia. They want to like establish like their own kind of independence from Spain. And
Did you already know that, or were you?
no,
learning about that
I
there?
learned
Yeah.
I learned there. And there's like certain flags that you can tell hanging in people's windows that point to, okay, like these people want to split off from Spain and Catalonia by like the flags. That's what my friend Fred was telling me. Like if you look at the flags, you can tell
Gotcha.
who's where on what politically, I guess.
showed
Okay.
up in the middle of a civil dispute.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
don't know if it was that insane, but
No, I mean, it's definitely been a thing for a little bit of time.
Weird.
I'm not like an expert on it by any means, but
Could you sense the tension though, other than just hearing about it?
no, I mean, it was already such a foreign place, and
Right.
like, I mean, it was still like very fresh experience for me. So
Just taking it in at that point.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I wish I could have stayed for longer in certain places, but I just, as soon as I got to one place, I would book a plane to the next place I would go, and I was just like 4 days here, fly, 4 days here, fly.
Gotcha.
But next time I'm gonna go for a much longer period of time, at least for 5 or 6 months, to be able to really absorb one culture and maybe move on to a different one. Try to teach English at places, maybe work in some kitchens.
Yeah, that'd be so cool, man.
Those are my kind of future plans with it.
Yeah, Kara was telling me that you wish you could have stayed longer when you got back.
Yeah, it was
Definitely don't blame
bittersweet.
you. Yeah, for
Bittersweet.
sure, for sure. Yeah, man, saw the pictures, like, just looks. I'm so jealous.
It was. I mean, I have some credit card bills to pay off, but honestly, I spent under $5,000 doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, traveling
have,
to, across the ocean, that's pretty dang good,
yeah.
considering. So,
I think next time I can definitely cook for myself more. That's one thing I definitely wasted a lot of money on, was food.
Yeah.
And if you stay at hostels, most of the time they have a communal kitchen you can use,
Gotcha.
and so it's definitely possible to do it on a very small budget and even make money for yourself while doing it.
yeah,
You can
true.
work at hostels, and there's definitely options available.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So, when you first got there, did you feel like there was much of a language barrier?
So in Portugal, most people, or at least in Lisbon, most people speak English, except for some of the older generation. They struggle with it. But I mean, I had a translator, and
Oh, okay.
so that really came in handy for the most part. If
just like one of those apps on your phone.
yeah, where you
Oh,
type
okay.
in
Gotcha.
a word, like if I'm
Gotcha.
trying to say like, can you put cheese on that? Like I just type that in, and then it says it to the person.
Oh, okay. I definitely imagine just someone following you around. I was
Yeah,
like,
I
dang,
brought
how
him
did you
with me.
connect that?
I brought him in my carry-on luggage.
Right.
This is
Little
my
gnome.
translator, Gelborb.
He's been fucking with you this whole time. None of his translations are accurate.
Why is everyone giving me such dirty looks?
I'm trying to think which was where the most language barrier was. I would say the biggest language barriers that I ran into were in probably Rome, because Romans like to speak Italian, and they don't like to differ from that very much. Like, they don't see tourists and are like, yay, come to our country, like, we want to see you. Like, they're definitely a little bit more like put offish than other places. It's not as warm and welcoming as, say, like Lisbon, where I felt extremely welcomed. They really like tourists there. That boosts their economy.
Right.
So that's like big business for them. They love tourists generally, as long as you're not a dickbag.
Right.
Want to tell us about your stay in Amsterdam and how everything came together for that experience over in there?
Absolutely. So I had the inclination to go to Amsterdam when I was in Rome. No, this is when I was in Barcelona.
Were you not already planning on checking that out?
No, it was all just kind of like on the fly, honestly. I would
Nice.
book about a week in advance, and then I would go. Which, I mean, I probably could have found cheaper ways to get there, but also I only had 35 days to check out 7 or 8 different cities, so I had to get there soon.
Gotcha.
But I booked my flight to Amsterdam, and I look at my calendar, and I'm like, I'm going to be there on 420. I did not plan this at all. Like, I was just like, okay, that works. So I get to Amsterdam. I mean, this place is like unreal. Like, you can literally, it seems like you can hear a pin drop from anywhere in the city. Like, there's not many cars. All people ride bikes. It seems like a very green city. There is some trash, mostly probably because of the tourism, I would guess, because it's one of the most touristy places in the world.
True. Is it very small? Or?
Yeah, it is a very small city comparatively to, say, like, I mean, even Cincinnati is bigger, I would say. It's all flat. Yeah, it's not a huge place, but it's an extremely interesting and beautiful place to go.
Was there much nature around in Amsterdam?
I was looking for some like more in-depth nature trails, but I found a couple botanical gardens which were really nice. That's the first thing I did when I got there was like I unpacked my bag, I went straight to a coffee shop, I got too high, and I found I had seen earlier that a botanical garden was next to my hostel, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go there. After paying $15 for a ticket, which was pretty expensive, I just walked around the botanical garden and just stared at flowers. Really
That
nice.
sounds beautiful. I would love to go do that.
It was very nice. It was a lot of fun. I rented a bike there, which in Amsterdam I would highly recommend renting a bike because it's the cheapest, easiest, and most fun way to get around. They have like very detailed traffic signals, traffic lights. You're supposed to like use hand signals and stuff like that. It's all very well coordinated, and they're one of the safest. It's the leading bike city in the world, and their bike crash ratio is like the lowest in the world because of how well they set up their bike system.
Are the like intersections made to accommodate both cars and bikes, or do they have like their own lane, or how does that work?
So cars, I mean, there are a lot of streets like can do cars, but there's some streets that are like only bike.
Oh, okay.
There's some streets that are only cars, so you have to kind of watch out for that, especially if you're really high on weed, being a tourist, definitely. But
just a local.
Yeah, I was nervous about it at first, after seeing like how complicated it looked from the outside. But like, I was talking to the dude who was at my hostel, who ran the hostel, and he was like, "You know how to ride a bike? You're fine. Get on, just start riding. Like, it'll be fine." And I got on it, and I was like, it was fine. Okay. I had one or two little scary moments, but that was it.
I'm just trying to picture this, like, if it's like a highway of bikes, like, is it like single file, like you type of thing,
so like,
or?
if their bells come in handy there, because that's your way of signifying, like, I'm coming around you, or like, watch out. I mean, you'll always hear it. So like, if I'm right here and somebody who's behind me is right here, if they want to pass me, they're gonna ring the bell, and like for the most part,
yell left or something. Coming up on your left or something.
Whatever that is in Dutch, I don't know what that means.
Right.
I don't know what that is in Dutch. Dutch is a very strange language.
You were just yelling.
Yeah.
Bring Shavakadoo! Bring Shavakadoo!
Free Shavakadoo.
That's got to be a word, right?
I took a couple of different legal psychedelics in Amsterdam that you can buy at things called smart shops. Okay. There are truffles that you can buy there, which I took, which were really, really nice.
They're psilocybin containing truffles, kind of like the mushroom, like psychedelic mushrooms, basically.
Yeah, they're just grown a certain way that makes them legal, but it all like digests in your body as psilocin. So it's like it's psilocybin. It's just grown in a different way that makes it legal.
And it is just the mushroom, like caps.
It's like if you had a handful of dried psilocybin, pretty much caps, stems, but it's moist also, so it weighs more, but it's fresher, and they don't taste nearly as strong as psilocybin. It's almost like eating just edible mushrooms. They're not even bad.
Okay, because when I used to hear about truffles from Amsterdam, I thought it meant like it was in chocolate.
That's what I thought too, honestly. Yeah. That like even just buying them and looking at them, I was like, because they're vac sealed, and you just see this like gross kind of blue like chunk of mushrooms in this vac sealed thing. You're thinking like, okay, this is going to be like a really disgusting like caramel candy thing or something, but no, it's just really mushrooms. It's just mushrooms, and they are not bad.
Nice.
What did you do while you enjoyed those experiences?
So
did you just buy them and pop them right away, or did you like plan
no, I saved it. Yeah. I bought them, and then I think the next day after that, which was on 4/21, I decided to take them and go to an Alborosie concert, which is like a reggae artist.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like coming up on mushrooms, riding my bike through Amsterdam on my way to a reggae show, and I'm just like,
yes,
this is tight. I like
bobbing down the bunny trail.
Yeah, I'm like starting to come up, like these feel really good, and I'm really excited for this.
Nice, man. Was that an artist that you know about, or
yeah? I mean, I
find
knew
out about them.
I knew a couple songs by them, and I saw a flyer because I was supposed to go to the Anne Frank house, which is like a huge museum there about like Anne Frank, obviously.
Oh, that's in Amsterdam?
Yeah, and also the Van Gogh Museum, but I ended up buying wrong tickets, and it just didn't work out, so I wanted to go to something.
Right.
And I saw somebody gave me a flyer for an Alborosie concert on 4/21, and I was like, I'll be here, so
heck yeah.
Why not?
Dude, that's awesome. Something about that reggae music.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on mushrooms.
I can only imagine.
I'm just like, yes.
Heck yeah.
Soul awakening.
Speaking of music, though, did you check out music in Barcelona?
For
some reason, I just correlate Barcelona and like super swanky, like nylon string guitar playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
There were a lot of awesome street performers. I have a couple videos that I might try to post on Facebook.
Okay.
A lot of interesting street performers, definitely everywhere, pretty much. But I mean, I went to mostly like big places for sure. So, I mean,
big
Rome,
places like tourist spots or like
I
big
would
venues.
say
Okay.
yeah, like at least city wise. But music wise, I did see jazz once or twice. Once in Porto and once in Lisbon. What other kind of music did I hear? Other than the reggae show that I went to, I didn't really see much live music, I would say.
Yeah, just curious.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, live jazz is always a treat.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the only way to enjoy jazz.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Not true, but like that's the way to really experience jazz, in my experience. So what other big breakthroughs either in Amsterdam with maybe that mushroom experience, or were there any other like key insights that you kind of stumbled upon, or maybe just your favorite moments?
I would say one of my favorite moments was in Rome when I was walking up this hill. I was gonna go to the Vatican, but the line to get inside was 3.5 hours, and I'm not Catholic or Christian by any means. And it was cool to see it from the outside, but I'm not waiting in that long of a line. I had to wait 2.5 hours to get in the Colosseum. I'm not doing it again. But so I went up the hill. I saw that there was like this little overlook, like park. It was green on the map, so I went there. So I like intuitively there. So like So they're like there are these fountains all over Rome that they're constantly running. They're very like ornate like fountains, just like everywhere, and people just like lean over and like drink out of them.
Oh wow!
Which I thought was like really interesting. I'd never seen something like that. Like they're constantly running all the time. Like they're like lion faces. It's almost like something you'd see in like a garden.
Right.
It's just huge, and people like really drink out of them.
But it's drinking water.
Yeah.
Large public fountains. Yeah. They're just always running. Just
yeah, just like a solid stream always coming from them.
Maybe they're just like self-filtrating.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that out of all the places, Rome's water quality was probably the worst that I had.
Oh really?
Yeah, I mean the city
just
is
taste
huge. Yeah, the city is just massive. So So like, so I see this fountain, and I'm passing it to go up these stairs to go to this little overlook that I'm thinking I'm gonna find, and my heart kind of pulls me to the left. So I'm like, okay, let's go over here. And I go to this place. It's like almost like an outdoor auditorium that's like a little bit of an overlook to some buildings. And I see this blonde hippie guy, and he had a big bag on. He had like blonde dreadlocks and like beautiful blue eyes, like so blue, like it's almost like I don't even know how to describe
Just
that
like
sort of
unearthly blue.
Yeah, like he was from somewhere else. Like instantly we locked eyes and we just like instantly smiled and just like, and I just started walking over, and his name was Dag. He has been traveling in Europe for about like 7 or 8 years, and he was one of the most special people that I met over there for sure. We spent a lot of time talking and smoking hash, and he was just such a giving, caring person. Towards the end of our whole like interaction, gave like a big hug. He was like, he would live on like €5 a day, maybe like $5 a day, and he would like make gardens out of flowers that he had picked around Rome, and he would just like set up a garden, and he would have his dog with him, and people would just give him money for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird way of like, I mean, that's just was his way of making money. But he'd live on like €5 a day. He would like stay high. He would like always have food. Like he would always have food for his dog. And like towards the end of our interaction, he was like, yeah, man, I mean, you can have the rest of my hash if you'd like, but I know you have a flight tomorrow. And I'm like, it was just really humbling for me. Like I have like so much, but like this person who literally lives on $5 a day is like so giving, like will literally give me like everything he has because of his like strong, oneness with the universe and just like knowing that he's it.
Trust.
It was very inspiring. It was a very inspiring interaction.
That's so cool. Yeah, I feel it. He just was exuding and embodying that trust that like you give what you get, and like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he was just in that like that fluid interaction of life where like our tendency in America, I mean, not to generalize, but there's a tendency to like, okay, you work for what you get and then you hoard it for a rainy day, or like, you know what I mean? It's just such a different energy rather than just this free flowing, like, okay, you know, scratch your back, you scratch my back, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Take everything, I can get more.
Figuring out how you can be of service and, you know, trusting that it'll come back to you.
Here, you need this. There's always more. It always comes.
Exactly.
It's always taken care of.
He cooked me a delicious meal out of this, like, so, like, at this auditorium, this was his home for the past, like, couple nights. Like, he would, like, go and, like, sleep there, he'd lay out a mat, and he taught me how to make, like, an urban fire, and, like, he was like, well, the smoke is going to get bad for about 5 minutes, but when you get some coals on the fire, it won't be smoky anymore. So, like, he's literally cooking pasta like right in the middle of this like this town, like this city, like Vatican City,
really?
Right outside of Rome. Like we have this fire going.
It can't be legal.
No, it's definitely not. I don't think so. And like he's cooking me pasta. We're just like talking. Like he had obviously done this many times before. Yeah. And like I ate that meal, and it was like made with such love and just like such like simplicity. It was like one of the best meals I had the entire time.
That's awesome.
And he was just like such an awesome person.
Yeah, that sounds like a special dude. Were you guys only hanging out that one day, or? So
we hung out the first day that we met, and I made plans with him to meet at the Coliseum at like 3:30, which is about like an hour walk from where we were currently. Okay. And I got to the Coliseum at like, it was like 3:45, and I was like, I'll wait until like 4:30. I'll give him like a whole hour. So I'm like chilling, trying to scoot away all the gypsies that are coming and trying to sell me stuff, because there's many of them in Rome. But I see him, I see his pack, I see his dog, and he's got a skateboard on his back, and I'm just like, I run to him, give him the biggest hug, and like, hey, how's it going? Nice. It's like right back to it.
Dude, that's so cool. Soul friend for sure.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Where was he from?
He is from Germany, and I want to say Luxembourg, but I'm not sure if that's right. And I didn't get his number. I wish I would have, but he does have my American number, so he can call me at any point.
Nice.
Do you feel like he was an inspiration to you as far as traveling goes, and how you maybe want to move forward with that kind of style of life and adventure?
Yes, absolutely. And he showed me like he showed me an example of what's truly possible.
That's cool, man.
and of how I can do it on very little money. Even though I spent in my personal opinion, I think I spent way too much money. I think I overindulged a little bit, but for my first time out of this country, I think I did okay.
Yeah, well, that's how you're feeling like in hindsight, but in the moment, were you feeling like you were overindulging, or?
I mean, being in his presence, yes.
Okay.
Being in his presence, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
because I see how you're living, and I see how like genuinely just like carefree and happy. We would have like such philosophical conversations, and like there was minor language barriers there, like very small ones that we could just like overcome.
Right.
It's interesting how much language barriers like actually like, because you want to convey an idea like so bad, but there's no way to do it really like for both people to understand like fully. It's very strange.
But on the flip side, I feel like you can often just kind of like feel it out and just like it's like an energetic thing. I'm sure you experience that too.
Definitely, I would say when you get into larger crowds, it's harder to do for sure. It's like kind of hard to tell like some vibes with like it's just such like a new experience. Like larger crowds, especially like this place called Bairro Alto, which was in Lisbon. It's like a big party center, so like you're hearing like 8 or 9 different languages like all around you, like, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, that's
like, I have no idea what I'm hearing at all. Like
nothing makes sense.
Nothing at all made sense there because there's people from everywhere, like all over the world. Because like them vacationing there is like us going to another state.
Right.
Like there's just literally like we go on vacation in Florida, they go on vacation in Portugal or Spain or whatever country.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Cool, man. That sounds awesome. Dag on.
Yeah. Dag on. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was so much fun. I miss him. I know I'll see him again. I will run into him again.
So I'd like to hear a little bit more about maybe, although your stories are exciting, some of the less physical parts of it, like the emotions that you were experiencing and how you maybe like use those emotions to build up momentum to move forward, or how they may have used you until you were able to find your center or whatever, however you feel you were able to, travel on those inner waves a little bit more, and what the experiences overall kind of led you to within your own self.
Sure. Yeah, I think I can answer that. So I would say in Lagos, I was contacting Clayton here like pretty much the whole time. You were definitely my strongest anchor that I had like back to my like life in the States for sure.
You were definitely my portal to adventure while I'm going to school and doing the thing.
But Lagos, so I'd stayed in 4 places. No, this was the 4th place that I would have been at by myself. So it was like just about a week or so where I was pretty much not having much social interaction at all. Like, because I found it a little bit difficult to connect to certain people. I did meet people, but maybe not as many as I was expecting, but I mean, it all works out. But in Lagos, I was definitely having a little bit of a, not like crisis, but definitely some internal conflict happening. It's hard for me to really put my finger on it. I was doing a lot of writing at the time, which was a good release for some of those feelings.
Yeah.
But I was overlooking some of like those sheer cliffs. In Lagos, I'm sure you probably saw.
Yeah, you
like,
sent me a picture.
The red rocks, like going straight in the ocean, and I'm just like, I start bawling at that, just like the sheer beauty of all of what I'm seeing, and
feel it.
I mean, I was definitely going through like a weird time. It was like a very weird. I mean, it's really hard for me to put into words.
Sounds like you're really coming into like full acceptance in terms of, damn, I'm here alone, like. There's people all around me, but like I'm really like I don't know any of them. I'm in myself,
and that's what I was thinking.
At least, that's kind of what I was feeling from how you're explaining it. You're like at this crazy point where you're just, oh my god, experiencing the full beauty of everything for once. Once you're able to take off the lenses of you're just being alone, and.
But Barcelona after that was a very. It was like drinking water when you're really thirsty. Like, that's sort of like coming into a social place was very nice for me.
Gotcha.
You were so ready for it. Everyone was just ready to welcome you in. And
We did face masks the first night, and we were getting drunk, and it was great. The guy in charge of the hostel at night just kept shushing us the whole time, and it was funny. It was a really fun night.
It was funny.
It was very funny. It was like 3 a.m. when all this was happening.
Yeah.
Because I got in very late.
Shh.
That guy's a real joker.
What a funny guy.
Maybe we should shush him back.
We did a couple times, like, because he would raise his voice at night sometimes, like, and we would just be like, shh. And he would just, like, not even pay attention to us.
So is the hostel set up where it's like, how is it set up? Is it like just one communal room, like different beds, or how does that work?
So in Barcelona, where I first stayed in a communal room, it was actually a really nice hostel. It was a very good place to start that kind of experience because I was nervous about it. I was nervous about sleeping next to a bunch of strangers. Like, there's obviously kind of feelings of like uneasiness there, which kind of came and went. But in general, like, the hostel was really nice. Everything was very clean. Everything was set up very well. Everyone was really friendly. So those anxieties soon faded for sure. But yeah, so it's like I was in a room. They can range from 12 people to 8 people to 4 people.
Gotcha.
So I was in a room, I think, with 8. Bottom bunk, comfy bed, cool people.
Yeah.
Met a couple, not too many, but I had a lot of adventures with this guy from Australia I spent a whole day with, and we did like a tapas tour, which is like a Barcelonian like appetizers, like Spanish appetizers. So we took like a tapas and drink tour, which was really fun. It was nice doing walking tours because you definitely feel like more a part of like you're doing something instead of just wandering, which I did a lot of too, which I had fun doing. But every now and again, it was nice to get on a tour and like with a group and doing something.
Yeah, with that structure and like someone actually pointing stuff out to you.
Yeah, like, hey, this is this.
This
is the story behind it.
And, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we went on like a serial killer tour as well. That was fun. That was really cool.
What was it about it that stood out?
So like, I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like the Menage a Trois. I don't know if that's it or not. I mean,
threesome?
No, is that what that is?
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Menage a Trois is a threesome.
So there's some theater in Barcelona. It's really famous. It's like a sex theater or something that's still running to this day.
Well, that could be.
Could be.
I think that's what it's called, but I could be wrong, honestly. But like, there was just like a bunch of strings of murdering, and like there's a lot of like red light history there, like red light district history there. A lot of brothels. Like, he took us to this one brothel that was like still like in the process of being demolished.
Oh, really?
So it's like still a pretty recent thing, and it still happens underground for sure. Not like Amsterdam where it's just like displayed in front of you, and like, I mean, when you go to Amsterdam, you literally walk past like clear windows and just like $50 for a sucky, 50 for a fucky. For the most part, yeah, but you can get taken advantage of pretty quickly. I didn't go for any of that because I know there's a lot of sex trade that happens under the scenes, and I would never want to put my money towards something like that. Absolutely. But it was tempting. I'm a male, and there are some really pretty women there.
No doubt.
But
yeah, that's kind of nuts. Just the culture shock.
No pun intended.
They were like selling balloons on Red Light District. I don't think I told you that.
Nitrous balloons?
Yeah, they were selling, like, there was like a tank, and I got a balloon, and I was just like chatting with them for a second. Like,
fuck yeah.
We did this like every day. Like,
wow.
Were they just like street salesmen, or were they like an actual legal vendor? Or?
They were street salesmen.
Like, nice.
Like, they just had like maybe like a 20 pound or a 50 pound or something.
They can throw in a backpack and move to a different corner with.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow. Cool, man. Well, any last details you want to share with us? I don't want to make you tell the whole story in one sitting or whatever.
Go to Porto. If I could recommend one city out of like all the cities that I went to, go to Porto. It's like the most beautiful shit you will ever see. Like,
did you say that one was in Portugal?
Yeah, that's northern Portugal. Okay. Like, I love Lisbon, don't get me wrong, but Porto, that place stole my heart, honestly. Yeah? Like, I cannot wait to go back to that place.
What was it about it?
It has similar vibes as Lisbon does. I mean, being Portugal, like, there's Portuguese spoken, similar attitudes, and I mean, people in Portugal are just, everybody who was local there was extremely welcoming. That's extremely cool. Like, arms wide open, like, hi, welcome to our country, let me show you around, like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, very kind and generous people. Even if they didn't speak English, they would like point you in the right direction to somebody who could, or like they would really like take your hand and like help you.
That's so cool.
And Porto has that still like very old rustic feeling to it without as much tourism as Lisbon. So there's like more locals. It's unbelievably beautiful there.
Yeah.
Unbelievably.
Gotcha.
I would definitely go back.
Is that what most of your pictures were from?
So I haven't gotten there yet. So all of my pictures have been like I'm at Barcelona right now. So my next step is Rome. Next step will be Amsterdam, then Berlin, then Porto.
Gotcha.
A couple pictures of Lisbon
cool,
again.
Man. Nice.
Yeah, I've been doing it gradually.
Really? Yes. Yeah, man, I'm super happy for you.
Thank you. I can't
Proud
wait to
of
go
you.
back out.
Yeah,
Thank
seriously.
you. I appreciate that.
It's
a lot.
inspiring for sure, and I know that people hearing the story, especially people that know you as well, are gonna be like, hell yeah. Especially, they're pretty sure a lot of people that you do know are aware of the journey you took on, but it's gonna be really cool for everyone to get a glimpse into what it was like to be there and kind of that rise and fall of adapting and integrating into that travel lifestyle, and
it's just so
moving around.
relatable, you know?
Yeah.
Even if, I mean, I haven't really, like, had that experience necessarily, but I totally feel, like, man, if I went to a foreign country, like, I know I would feel, like, pretty much like a lost dog.
You feel like that lasts for a couple days.
Yeah,
and,
no doubt.
I still felt vibes of it when I was leaving a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I was more comfortable with myself, but I still felt a little bit, like, stranger.
Right.
And I don't think that's a
you'd have to
feeling
be
that-
there for a decade or something before it really feels like home to a, rock solid.
And I don't
home
think that
space.
feeling really goes away. I think it's about how you work with it. Because, like,
Sure.
I mean,
Exactly. I think
even
that's
I
just-
can feel alien here.
That's what I'm saying. That's just kind of like a human feeling in general. Like, no one really knows exactly what's going on or what we're doing. We're all doing it to an extent the best that we can and pointing the direction to what feels best, one step at a time. And I really feel like your stories definitely helped share that perspective and how keep moving with it and accepting your own emotions and expressing them to yourself, like with your writing, led you to that experience where you just are able to let it all go and move on into the embrace. It just, to me, when you shared that, it's just so symbolic of what you had just allowed yourself to experience and release, and then bam, everyone outside of you is so ready for you, just like you're ready for yourself. And
Yeah,
that
I've never
connection.
really looked at it that way, but that's a really beautiful way of seeing it. I like that.
That's
Thank
a
you.
good point too, that, that's something that everyone kind of feels to one degree or another, like, all the time in life. So of course that's going to only be, like, amplified and exasperated when, like, you don't know anyone around, like, there's a language barrier, you've never been here before, so it just, like, obviously it just intensifies that whole
Sometimes
energy.
the best medicine for me was just laughing or smiling or just like putting a grin on, because people are more receptive to that.
So true.
100%.
So true.
Thank you
Cool.
so much for sharing with us.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Absolutely.
course.
I got more that'll come out gradually.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Don't
Definitely,
wanna
like,
flood everybody at
We're
once.
not-
right.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting. I'm like doing pictures gradually, and I've been
Yeah.
busy as shit. It seems like
Right,
since
right.
being back, life has just been like nonstop, and I feel
We
like
live
I
in
really.
a busy country. Downtime is looked at as such a negative.
And you should see over there, in most places I went to, there are people laying in parks, like lots of people. Like, I mean, in Amsterdam, everywhere that's green has people laying down on it and like
That's
making out on the
amazing.
lawn and like smoking
Right
weed.
on.
And
Take me.
I will. I'll show you how to ride a bike there. It's
You say
fucking
making out in the
tight.
lawn, smoking weed.
Yep.
Like,
Reading books.
when I
Clayton's
do
kinda
that,
place.
when I do that, like people get mad at me.
And people look at you and scoff.
Yeah.
It's a Western way of viewing it. I mean, not everywhere, obviously. This country, it's a big country. There's a lot of different varieties of
Puritanical
attitudes and-
prudism.
Yeah. But I mean, generally over there, it's a lot looser. It's a
Yeah.
lot just like looser. I don't know how to. It's a
Right.
loose butthole. Very loose butthole over there in the best way possible.
It's the
Amen.
only way to put it.
Amen.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure there's a shadow side to that kind of looseness too, pros and cons to everything, but I definitely do think it's important to point out how puritanical we can be here in the States.
In general, I kind of put it. I guess this might be like kind of a darker way to see it, but like I saw a lot less dead eyes over there. If that
Yeah.
makes sense. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like sometimes you walk past people and it's just like it seems like they might be like void of something, like totally missing out on something that's right in front of them.
Or just shut off.
Yeah, like the
Might not be a
lights
permanent thing,
lights
but
aren't
yeah.
on, nobody's
Right.
home, but the person's still walking, doing things, and like
Checked out.
maybe it was just my projection, I don't know, but I seem to see less people like that over there.
Yeah.
People were very involved in what they were doing.
It sounds like, based on what you've said here and a lot of what we talked about, that their system and the way the society is ran over there, it's a lot more conducive to human happiness and human function in general. I mean, when you see people just outside enjoying life, laying in the grass, like something must be good, or they're putting something in the water, and it doesn't sound like it's fluoride.
Yeah, and they don't fluoridate their water over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Amsterdam is the cleanest place for water in the world. Like they advertise, like drink out of our fountains, like it is fluoride free and very clean.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is so fucking awesome.
Heart explosion. Like, it's
It's-
amazing to know that exists.
Right.
I mean, there are places like that here. Like we just came from Yellow Springs, like very
Yeah.
similar energies, honestly.
It's
to,
true.
Like,
They don't fluoridate the water
free
there.
flowing.
Yeah.
It's like very nice.
Communities all around, like everyone just hanging out, grouping up outside of every little restaurant and joint.
Like if you've ever been to the Red River Gorge or New River Gorge, it's similar energies. It seemed to all revolve around like huge nature spots where you find like hippies, people who love each other, and
Wait,
it's
where
nice.
is New River Gorge?
That is in West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
It's about 4 hours away. It's a little bit bigger
It's
than
not
the
too bad.
gorge, but I mean, it's definitely worth the trip. It's some of the
Yeah.
best climbing, rafting, kayaking in the world.
Cool,
like
man.
world class rafting, and
Definitely
I did
putting
that
that on the map.
for a bachelor party.
Okay.
We should all
rafting.
float down the river
Aren't we doing that right now? Doing that right now.
right now.
Right now.
later, right now.
Right now, how about later?
Continuously,
Is tomorrow right now?
Welcome to British Galactic Radio
We're your hosts, Nigel.
and Bruno.
What's that?
Floating through the waves of the world, riding the river of consciousness, delivering insight daily. Welcome to you, the center.
Monday, Monster Truck Rally.
Settle me down. I'm just kidding.
So speaking of getting burnt, you guys just got back from Scorched Nuts, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So this is a local burn.
Yes. Yeah. Regional
Yeah,
burns.
it's the regional burn for like what, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
It's in
It was up-
Rutland, Ohio.
Yes,
It's about 2.5 hours east.
it was my first burn experience. It
My
was
second.
definitely magical, to say the least. Never experienced community on that level before. You know, people truly taking care of everyone and doing everything they can just to provide what they can for each other and having a good time, being open. And it seems like everyone there was like for the movement, so to say.
I hope so.
Yeah, like really progressive with their thoughts and actions and ideas on self and how to progress towards being better versions of that. And
Yeah. Cool, man.
it was really special.
Sweet. 3-day fest?
4 night.
4 nights? Okay.
4 nights.
I
Nice.
wasn't able to make it until Friday afternoon. So
Okay.
yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, I was able to stay.
Gotcha. Cool. You want to give me the lowdown?
Steven?
Where to begin, right?
That's how.
I mean, there's so much to it. I love festivals, don't get me wrong, but I think burns are going to be more what I'm aiming for in the future.
Definitely agreed.
It's cheaper. It's honestly way cheaper. I mean, $200 if you have all your supplies and stuff, like $80 for a ticket for 4 nights, and then your supplies. So, like, I roughly spent about $200 for a 4-night experience, where, like, at a festival, that's
your
that's
entry
your
ticket,
ticket.
yeah.
That's it. Like, you're buying food, buying
And everything
miscellaneous
there
powder.
costs
yeah.
so much money. It costs so much money at a music festival, you know.
Right.
You don't have that same vibe of, you know, people are going to provide for you, you know, and not that you should ever expect that, but at a festival, if you see like something you want, more often than not, someone's going to expect you give them something in return, or that you pay for it, whereas the friendliness and openness of a lot of the burners was like, oh, would you like some, could I share with you, or
More on that bartering mentality.
exactly, less on the
See,
bartering
I
even.
wouldn't
It
say
was
barter.
it was more so, it was just totally gifting.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you're not even supposed to barter there. Even like
Oh.
trade for trade, like it's
You're not
any
supposed to
exchange
expect
like
to
that.
really ask for anything either. It's just
Oh, so it's
Everyone-
going more back to DAG, just that frequency of just like you give, you serve, and just
Yeah.
trust that it's going to be returned to you. Okay,
Exactly.
Gotcha. Because before you left, like the way you were talking about it, I kind of got the impression that it was more of a bartering thing. So
No.
that's cool, man.
yeah.
So what is like the format? 'Cause I mean, I've only been to music festivals, which is obviously based around
So
the
we,
shows.
we
you know?
were both
Yeah.
invited into a theme camp,
Okay.
which was Jade Room, and they set up a really nice safe space, serve Italian sodas, play fun music, and generally just a safe community space.
It's like about like the whole wandering aspect of festivals. Like that's what people do. Like people just like wander to different campsites, have fun with each other, communicate. Music is there, but it's not a
Right.
main focal point at all.
But if you feel like dancing, you
There
can
is
certainly
music
find a
around.
place to go enjoy some tunes. People jamming on guitars,
Just
playing
those
drums. And,
renegade jams, so to say. Like,
Yeah, it was
were
a-
there people that brought like DJ equipment?
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a
there,
few
it was.
DJs.
I would say more so like electronic music DJs and stuff
Oh, okay.
than I noticed it like people playing instruments.
Mhm. Cool.
I had brought
That
my
does sound very
massage
intriguing.
table because
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted to offer something, so I brought that and was offering Reiki and massage, and
Cool.
a good handful of people were open to that, and
Yeah.
so that was so much fun to share and witness people like experiencing that and just feeling so good afterwards, and
Right. Especially
definitely
people that you didn't necessarily know personally.
Exactly.
Just sharing that.
truly, and definitely knowing and feeling like you're giving back to the community that just so open-heartedly just like accepted me in and didn't question who I was at all, just appreciated it, and
Right.
definitely shed some light on life in general, how communities can function, and kind of where I want to be, or what I can work towards to become a better version of myself more so.
Yeah. And just kind of a glimpse into what a community and an ecosystem can look like.
Truly.
Alternative
The fact
universe.
there's
Yeah.
no trash on the grounds. They call it moop, no moop, which is matter out of place. So
Okay.
it's really important that everyone leaves no trace whatsoever, like from the littlest piece of plastic to, you're not even supposed to pee or
Bring
in
your
the
trash
woods
with
at
you.
all. Make sure you use the porta potties and
Oh, really?
everything. And yeah,
Yeah, they're pretty strict about that for the most part.
Be a hard one to follow, but
Right? I mean, for the first year I went, it was definitely like, I'm just gonna pee in the woods. And then like people were looking at me like really weird, like, what are you doing? Like I was like, oh, because I was really unaware of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'd been to music festivals, but like I was pretty unaware at the time, and I caught on pretty quickly. This burn for me was definitely more of seeing some darker aspects of myself to work with and play with.
Cool.
'Cause the burn burnt me a little bit this year, but it's in a good way. I learned a lot about myself and some of those deeper aspects that I may have been avoiding or ignoring.
okay.
being
Cool,
in such
man.
a loving community, it's easier to come to those places and be okay with being in that
And feel
darker part.
accepted
Yeah,
doing it.
You can be like, wow, like for me personally, if I was experiencing, oh man, I've got this part of myself that can be shitty sometimes, whatever, there'd probably more than the opposite. There would be people willing to communicate about that and be like, so like, what can you do to become better? How can we help? And what's going on? Everyone was just very friendly, and it was definitely just a safe place to
Yeah.
be who you are. And
Sounds encouraging
yeah,
type of environment.
Yeah, I would recommend the experience to everyone.
Yeah, I'm definitely way more intrigued now than I don't know. I guess I just didn't really know what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was welcome in the Jade Room last year, and I mean, my friend told me like you have to go to this if you like music festivals, and I bought a ticket and was blown away. I was really,
Cool, man.
really surprised in a very pleasant way. I mean, there's very open sexuality there. It's not like people are like fucking in the grass, but like,
Right.
I mean, there is a tent with lots of sexual workshops, lots of sexual activity happening, lots of people having sex in the tent. pretty much like on display. Like obviously it's like closed. It's very monitored. You have to follow like rules when you go in there. Wash your hands, consent. There's supervisors there, so it is a very clean, very safe space to if you want to go that route to experiment sexually.
But yeah, that's just one facet.
Yeah, that's one facet.
The total radical self-expression, which is one of the principles of Burning Man, which the regional burn follows. And
right. So is it facilitated like only by volunteers, or
Yes.
I don't know if there was some burn coalition or something.
No, it's all community driven.
That's
like
really
people
cool.
who pay for tickets volunteer. Like then they don't get their money back. Like they
Right.
choose like I want to volunteer to help the community.
Wow.
Like not to gain anything from it. That's something I'd really like to get into next year. There are like rangers that you can train. You can take a class to become a ranger who are just like walking around making sure everyone's okay.
Right.
No one's like dehydrated. No one's like they're just like groundskeepers, and you can just take a class and do that.
Cool.
And it's all done out of love. People aren't getting paid for it, and they're not doing it for a refund on their ticket like a lot of music festivals and stuff
Right.
offer. And honestly, having the experience at the burn kind of gives me a better insight and idea on how to approach a music festival and to bring that community style vibe into that atmosphere and be a more solid pillar and foundation for people and community and helping and just being that I want to see in the world more so. And
yeah, man. Respect.
yeah, no doubt. And I was talking about the 10 principles. I think it'd be pretty cool to share them since
Please.
got them so luckily in my wallet.
Do they like hand those little cards?
No, actually, I went to the Burning Man exhibit at the Cincinnati Art Museum.
Yeah.
But the 10 principles are radical inclusion. So like we were talking about, just everybody accepting everyone for who they are. Unless, you're being unkind or whatever. Gifting. So it's not a barter system or, you never really
Trade you this
expect
for
that or anything. It's just totally like, giving it out of love and wanting to give something to somebody. Decommodification. So, that's again, taking away money, taking away a lot of things that we do commodify, like, oh, get water, got a phone, got money, I can get what I want. It's a lot. If I have this, I can get that. It's more so...
it's like that objectifying component of materialism.
yeah, it leads to the next one, which is radical self-reliance, and making sure that everyone has everything they need, You're not just able to bring money and then get what you need to take care of yourself.
Making sure you have everything you need to survive for
Yeah.
4 days. Food, water, everything.
Everything.
Right.
And not expecting anyone else or, anything to happen so that you can't be taken care of. It's
Gotcha.
really fully taking care of yourself, and then eventually taking care of yourself so much that you are able to share that overflows with others.
Absolutely.
And then radical self-expression, which was definitely a huge one. I've never seen so many wild, crazy, and weird, beautiful people just fully being themselves in one place, and it's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I like that.
Communal effort, like we were saying, everybody's volunteering, filling in, not doing it for any other reason other than to further the community and the experience. Civic responsibility, basically what I just said, kind of, doing your duty to help others, and you see someone
Having a bad time. Dehydrated,
overheating,
yeah,
and
which
you go
is
take care of
possible.
them. Everyone is there to take care of everybody else, leaving no trace, no moop.
Mm-hmm.
And participation. Number 9, being part of it, Don't
Just hearing.
Yeah, it's not like a forced participation, of course, but it's being
Check out some events.
yeah,
like,
being
talk to
encouraged
people.
to take part and be active in that community. And immediacy, which is you want to do something, you got a feeling, you have an opportunity to help, and you just do it. Get up and do it, not getting all caught in your head about this and that. Does it feel right? Do it. Move forward in action. And
I think that's something I'm definitely going to work on next year for sure, like a sense of immediacy. And,
me too, because I was still a little anxious about some things. Like, should I go? I don't know if I want to go. Like,
And the practice starts now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
The
Definitely
immediacy of
next
the
year.
present moment. Yeah,
True.
right.
And Mosaic, which will be in the beginning of October. It's
Yeah.
like a 4-night burn as well.
Steve and I
Gotcha.
are going to go experience that.
Nice.
And maybe you want to come with.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would love to get a camp together.
Yeah, man. Now, when you say that you got burnt, do you want to kind of elaborate on what that meant for you, or?
Okay, so like I pretty much immediately went from traveling to this burn. Two like very strong experiences happening in very quick succession, and I feel like I need to give myself some time to relax and like integrate some of the experiences that I've had recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to give myself some time to ground in some of the things that I've learned.
Right.
Because if I'm just keep doing just like experience after experience, I feel like I'm just gonna lose myself in it and not even.
You'll turn into a big fat wook.
Yeah, big old fucking fat fucking wook.
Yeah, big old fat fucking wook.
We might have to bag and tag you.
Yeah, for
honestly,
sure. Experience after experience.
I can't believe I haven't been bagged and tagged yet.
I can't believe I haven't either.
Oh, stop. You guys are not wooks.
we just have the wook look.
We have wook-like qualities
We have
to us.
definite wook-like tendencies, but
Yeah.
you know, I pay for my own experiences and I take care of others too. So like, you know, I got that.
There were some wook experiences happening at Scorched Nuts, which that was new to me. Kind of people who didn't really follow those 10 principles, like self-reliance.
Yeah. Just like people trying to bum resources.
Kind of, yeah. Which is kind of looked down upon. Like,
But at the same time, people totally took care of them. You know, the community chipped in. We're not going to let anyone just like be hungry or not have shelter or anything. So
And hopefully they can integrate that shadow into their own experience.
for sure.
Be better at that, you know?
yeah, all learning experience for sure.
Exactly. Clayton, were there any shadows that came up for you?
You know, this was a very light-filled one. For me, the burn burnt so bright, you know, all my shadows were cast behind me. And it was a magical experience. I really felt I was able to, you know, blossom and bloom for the first time in a couple years. Not that I haven't been growing, but it was such a new and such almost like long-awaited experience for like my inner self to just be like, whoa, I'm here and look at these beautiful people and how I just felt accepted, like I said, and was able to open up and be myself and take it at my own pace. And, you know, I felt like I was able to integrate a lot more of who I am. And yeah, I mean, constantly shadow parts of self, but a lot of my work these last couple years too has been more so integrating that shadow self and more comfortably working into the unknowns within my own being, and it totally just let me dance around and play with who I was all weekend long. It was
Right on, man.
an awesome experience, and I know I'm not going to be able to say that for every time I go to a burn or have an experience for sure, but I'm grateful to say that this first one was just total like explosion of bliss and grandeur almost, that and connection and just mind opening, you know, when you stretch so far that you know you're not going back, nor do you want to.
Do you feel like there were certain aspects that acted as like the catalyst for that opening for you, or was it just the novelty of the experience and just like that loving, encouraging community? You're just like, heck yeah.
There were definitely a few key people that talking to them and you know, having heart-to-heart conversations, throwing up mirrors. And, you know, for me, a lot of it was giving massage and Reiki without expecting anything in return. That filled me up so much, being able to share those two things that I'm so passionate about, intertwining them and seeing how it positively impacted and affected people, like brought me back to a place in my roots where I started out doing energy work and play. And like, you know, I never asked or expected anything. It was always just me totally wanting to give to my friends, loved ones, or anyone that I felt like might benefit from it. And that's what it was. And it brought me back into, like I said, a place within myself that makes me feel like I'm just blooming and blossoming and not expecting anything.
That's so cool. It sounds like you're unburdened by like that expectation and
decommodification.
Yeah, exactly. Of like, you know what, I actually just want to give this because it feels good, rather than like, I'm sure, you know, in your day-to-day life at home, in the back of your mind, you're like, all right, I gotta hustle to get this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I have found that once I've gotten out of, once I've integrated back into society, you know, decompressed a bit. Yeah, back into the default world, as they call it. People automatically were like, so how much is a massage? And I'm like, okay, so it kind of like made this really smooth transition where before the burn, I kind of felt like I was having to ask people to pay me and stuff. And I get back and I'm more so just willing to offer this energy and this love. And people automatically in return in this default world are like, here's some money. What can I do for you in return? I might not have money. Can I take you to a meal? And it just more smoothly happened. It's like I expected it less and I was provided for more, for sure.
Hey, that's a shift. Energetic shift for sure. Cool, man.
Beautiful.
That's really awesome.
Definitely experienced some magic with Gandalf.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
definitely a little bit of an identity crisis there, I would say. I think next year that's going to be, I don't know. Let's see how the year goes,
Hold
for
up.
sure.
What now?
So
Did the white mage show up?
I was
brown.
named Gandalf there last year.
Okay.
I mean, and people just called me that. They didn't know me. They just called me that, and that extended on to Forest. Like when I went to Forest this past year, people just called me Gandalf. So like I stuck with it. But at this year.
So this
Those
time
are-
you introduced yourself as Gandalf.
Yeah, I started to, but they're big shoes to fill. There's a lot of expectation there, you know what I mean? And I'm
yeah.
not sure if I'm ready for that quite yet. And maybe once I am, I'll be Gandalf the White. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, you are who you are always.
Yeah.
You're a magical person regardless of the title, and I feel like the shoe fits. You know, definitely no need for you to get mentally wrapped around this thing. But I can see why just being accepting and I'm Steven, it could be a much more humbling experience.
I think
for sure.
for next year I'm going to introduce myself as that, but that's down the road. No reason to worry about it right now.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But yeah, people call me that. I don't really know why. I guess I have that wizard look. I mean, I was wearing a wizard hat and I was wearing a cloak and fucking not even a cloak. I mean, I was like harem pants, loose pants
with your staff and a wizard hat.
Okay, yeah,
And
that's all you need.
Yeah,
He literally looks like Gandalf, and with his
That's
brown hair,
awesome.
he
Yeah.
was
Fucking
titled
hair.
Gandalf the Brown.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. Cool, man. Well, I just learned something about you. Makes too much sense.
And I haven't even like seen Lord of the Rings. That's
Really?
the
You've never
thing.
seen
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Like I need to get some
I
background
tried
information.
watching with him
Oh.
a couple times, and for some reason things happen, and it just never works.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Kara's never seen them either. So we've made a commitment that once we get the house, the first winter in the new house, we're finally going to watch the trilogy. So.
I have them all.
Have
on
her
You're welcome
Blu-ray.
to come over for it,
please.
yeah.
I've
I'm
got
gonna
'em
learn
all.
who I am.
The extended editions on Blu-ray. I will bring them, and we will
Okay,
enjoy
cool.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Those extended ones, though. Good God.
It's so much.
Is the extension worth it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Totally.
Okay.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there's
yeah.
a little more, and it's a
Right.
lot longer.
I just remember as a kid, I was just like, okay, this is literally just more. It doesn't seem like it's really enhancing like the story at all. It just seems like it's making it longer.
Yeah. it's
But I'm not
exactly
11 anymore.
It
so
doesn't
we'll
say
see.
enhanced edition. It says extended.
the longer edition.
It's just the longer version.
You want to see more of it? All right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You guys on the Game of Thrones?
No.
I've never seen an episode.
Read the first couple books and didn't, dive too much deeper than that, and
Yeah.
watched some episodes like with my mother. And that was awkward, and never really got into it much on my own with an ex like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe when it first came out. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen a single episode, so
Yeah.
enough said on that one. Yeah. Just thought I'd ask.
You might be chastised for saying something like that in public.
I mean, anymore, it seems like. Game
How
of
can your
Thrones is-
consciousness even break through if you aren't down for the dragons, bro?
But people are so pissed about the way it ended, though.
I think that's so
That's what I'm
funny.
saying.
You
Like
see,
now,
the
I'm just
horse
like,
picture.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's
season
what
1 and 2, like the
about it.
ass of the horse is
It's
like
all
super
primo,
pretty, yeah.
and then the head is
Yeah.
like a
like a 2-year-old's
two-year-old pencil
drawing.
drawing.
right, depicting like the different seasons. And,
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I did too. But now I'm like, all right, I guess I chose the right option, not committing that much of my time to watch this show.
I'm ready for OA
Like-
season 3.
Me too. Yeah. We're
I'm
gonna
ready
do a
for
whole
something
episode
like
talking
Breaking
about
Bad again.
that. Have you got into the OA?
No,
Have you,
You
heard
should
about it?
watch the OA.
No?
mm-mm.
You haven't told me?
No, I'm not really. Never heard of it really.
No, I don't really share
I've been
things for
blasting
Steven
this.
to watch. Honestly, with Steven,
Okay.
he doesn't watch like TV and stuff.
Yeah,
like I never,
That's fair.
yeah, I never
don't-
hear about
To
him.
be fair, I really don't either. Like,
I feel like whenever I'm in a relationship with somebody and I'm living with the person,
I was
like
gonna
I'm
say-
way more on the TV vibe.
That's
but
true.
I always like to keep myself busy. I'm not really a big TV person,
very relatable.
but I do sit on my phone for hours and on end sometimes. So
Well, if you
there
want to
is
take a
that
break from your
balance.
phone for 8 hours,
Oh my god,
Times
the best
two.
8 hours of your life
Yeah.
too. It's
so
a
the
good
first
one.
season was like my favorite thing ever, and it was like the best thing I'd seen in years. And like I said,
Okay.
I'm not like a TV buff or film guy at all. But dude, season 2's finale was literally the best like moment of film that I've ever seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. What is
And
it
again,
about?
that's not saying that much because I'm not that into movies, but from what I've seen,
The premise
Yeah.
revolves around near-death experiences and interdimensional.
yeah, I would just leave it at near-death experience.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, interdimensional shit, but
Yeah.
for sure.
Near-death experiences.
Yeah. I don't even want to tell you too much about it other
Okay.
than that it's amazing. You won't regret it, and it's
Alright.
about near-death experiences.
Cool.
And if you've tried to give it a shot, it's one of those things where it's like you got to give it a chance. You're gonna be a little confused. It's weird and beautiful, and then you're like, what?
It's a
mind
mind fuck.
stretch. Yeah, it's a mind stretch
fuck,
for sure.
Were there any other stories you guys wanted to share about the burn experience?
Go. Everyone. Check it out. It's tight.
It's so worth
There's a
it.
couple burns happening. There's a frost burn, which is in like the middle of winter, which I probably will not do. It's like cold as
Middle
fuck.
of winter?
Yeah.
Wow, that's next level.
I don't think I'd be interested in all that. But Mosaic is happening in the beginning of October.
It's starting to cool down a little bit. Then that'll be
Yeah,
nice.
that'll be
Is that in the
nice.
same location?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll get it on my radar. I mean, I guess it's on my radar now, so
Yeah. Check it out.
yeah, I would like to. Cool. Definitely will. Well, I guess just to wrap up some of our key points for this episode, I mean, I really enjoyed your story about DAG when you're talking about your trip to Portugal. I think that's a excellent take home for all of us, just to tap into that energy of trust, you know, bringing service to our environment and just trusting that it's gonna come back around without clutching to the need of it. So thank you guys for sharing the stories.
Thank you for having me.
Until the next time that we have you.
Yeah, absolutely.